So good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. Before we get started, this is your reminder that this meeting will be recorded and shared with folks who weren't able to make it today. You'll be prompted on your screen to opt in. My name is Christina Stucker-Gassi. I'm based in Boise, Idaho, where my family used to operate a dairy and row crop operation. I am the Healthy Food and Farms Program Manager at the Northwest Center for Alternatives to Pesticides, referred to many as just NCAP. Founded in the 1970s as a coalition of community-based groups working on healthier forest management in the West, the Northwest Center for Alternatives to Pesticides has grown to be the leading Northwest voice for non-toxic weed and pest solutions. We work on issues related to water and wildlife, people and communities, and food and farms. Notably, NCAP has worked to advance cultural and least toxic alternatives to crop pests and disease in organic blueberry production, potatoes, as well as variety trials for heirloom corn. And we've organized a decade of organic conferences for the Idaho farm community, among other things. I'll turn it over to Katie with FARE Idaho to briefly introduce herself before passing it back to me to kick us off.
Yeah. I'm happy to join you all today. My name is Katie Baker. I'm the Executive Director of FARE Idaho. FARE is an acronym and it stands for Food, Agriculture, Restaurants, and Establishments. We are a nonprofit trade association that's structured around the local food system. So within our fold, we have farmers, ranchers, independent restaurants, food and beverage producers, bars, and grocers. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Hannah to walk us through, well, before I do that, actually, I did have some interesting stats prepared on organics nationally and Idaho specific. So I'll hand it over to Hannah after I share some of those with you. And I'll also just give a quick overview of what to expect on today's call. So according to the United States Department of Agriculture's 2021 organic survey, the number of organic farms in the US totaled over 17,000, up 5% from 2019. And then this is a significant growth since they started recording numbers in 2008. So there is we've seen significant growth, and the growth seems to be continuing to increase pretty steadily. The total of organic food products in the US rose by 13% from 2019 to 2021, and currently makes up about 6% of the market, domestic market. And Idaho ranked number 7 in the nation in 2021 in total land in organic production. And we also rank in the top 10 most years for sales as well. Some of the most common products for Idaho include dairy, hay, barley, wheat, potatoes, dry beans, and onions. So definitely skewing towards the commodity markets, and there's lots to be said about each of those. Major growth in the dry bean sector as of late. There about 67% of organic operators in Idaho are certified through the Idaho State Department of Ag, but there are also dozens of other certifiers that producers can choose to certify with. According to the National Organic Survey, 55% of organic farmers said regulatory issues were a top challenge, 35% named price issues as a major challenge, 39% named production problems as their top concern, and 24% named market access. And then 29% named management issues. So there's a variety of challenges, and the TOPP program is meant to help grow the organic acreage in the country, and we're focusing on Idaho specifically. So a lot of resources in the pipeline, and we're going to talk about some of those today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Hannah to kick us off.
Great, thank you, Christina. I am going to share my screen. I just have a few slides to share. Give me 1 second. There we go. This one and share that. All right. You should be able to see that presentation now. Yes, we're good. Okay. Great. Well, as Christina said, my name is Hannah Deacon, and I'm the mentorship program coordinator for this new program called the Transition to Organic Partnership Program, or TOPP for short. This is a USDA funded program that is providing really greater assistance than ever before to farmers and ranchers who are interested in transitioning to organic. So I'm just going to give a bit of a program overview and then go into a little bit more depth in some parts of the programs that are available. So TOPP, as it's called, is a national program across the country overseen by the National Organic Program, also known as the NOP. It is funded through this large initiative called the Organic Transition Initiative, which overall is putting up to $300 million towards services to support farmers transitioning to organic. So TOPP is just one component of this larger Organic Transition Initiative. Other parts of the initiative include a new conservation program with NRCS that is really solely directed towards farmers who are transitioning. The organic market development grants are also part of this initiative, and there is more funding being put towards crop insurance for transitioning farmers too. So when developing TOPP as a new program for the country, the NOP divided the country into 6 regions. So as you can see, we are here in the Northwest, as this map shows. And Oregon Tilth is leading the program for the region, but we are working with many different partners, organizations, farmers, certifiers, extension offices, all across this region to offer different kinds of services, resources, different kinds of educational opportunities and events that are all centered around organic production, certification, and transitioning to organic. So as you can see, there's 6 states in this Northwest region. Those include Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. And like I said, we are working with partners really all across all of these states. And partners, different organizations are the ones that are really putting on all the different events and educational opportunities. So then TOPP is supporting a few different areas of programming and resource development for transitioning and organic certification. A big one is a new mentorship program, and that's one that I'm going to dive into today as I am the mentorship program coordinator. The mentorship program is all about connecting farmers who are transitioning to organic with already certified organic farmers. So it's really about that farmer to farmer connection, learning from each other one-on-one in a setting. And then TOPP also supports technical assistance. That's another big area. And so that is more about the technicalities of certification, kind of like the paperwork side of things, the administrative side of things, and helping farmers develop their organic system plans for certification, creating the necessary record-keeping systems, preparing for your first inspection, some things like that. And then TOPP is also supporting many different events throughout the Northwest region, and these will all be centered around organic production, certification, and transitioning strategies. And they could include things like field days, workshops, webinars, conferences, all sorts of things. TOPP is helping to support those and plan those. And then along with all of these comes the community building between farmers and organizations and partners. And TOPP is really supporting and growing that network of organic farmers and organizations all across the Northwest. So as I said, this is a really big initiative that's coming from USDA. There's a lot of support and services that are happening, through so many different organizations. And, if you've been thinking about going organic, if you've been considering transitioning, this might be the time to do it because there are more support, there's more educational opportunities than really ever before. This kind of level of support has never been offered before. So if you're thinking about it, I would encourage you to really seriously consider it now and reach out and learn more about these programs. So as I said, I was going to share more about the mentorship program in particular. So I'll dive into that here a little bit. So this mentorship program is all about connecting producers, farmers, and ranchers who are transitioning to organic with those mentors that are already certified organic farmers. So it's really about learning in a one-on-one setting or possibly in a small group format if that works out with different scenarios. This program is just now kicking off. So this whole TOPP initiative is new and this mentorship program is just getting going. We're just making our first mentorship matches right now. So we are accepting applications on a rolling basis. It will just continue to keep going, and it will continue to keep going for at least the next few years, if not hopefully longer. So a little bit more about the program. Mentors do receive a stipend for their time participating in the program, and transitioning producers, the mentees, they participate for free. It's a completely free of charge program. And there is even a small $500 travel stipend available for the mentees to help offset some of the costs of participating. And the primary program is based on a year-long mentorship model where mentor and the mentee, they meet regularly, about once a month or so, over the course of a year. And then there is a shorter term mentorship option as well. We're just calling this short-term mentorship, where folks who are transitioning can request the help of a mentor for just a specific question or topic that you have about organic production or certification, something to do with that. And that is where a mentor just provides 4 hours of guidance at a time. So that is, like I said, just much more focused on one particular topic. But, all of our mentors are happy to just help you out with something in particular for a short amount of time if that year-long mentorship model doesn't work for you. And then I did want to mention that this is a certifier neutral program. So mentors can be certified organic with any certifier, and transitioning producers can work with any certifier of their choice as they work towards certification. And this program is open to all crop and livestock producers. So in the Northwest, so across those 6 states, open to all crop and livestock. So if you know someone who would be interested in this program, we're really looking to get the word out right now, share about these services and opportunities with your friends and neighbors. And yeah, we're just really excited to get people involved. So I wanted to share just a little bit more on particulars of who's eligible to participate in this program. Let me see if I can go. There we go. All right. So mentors, to be a mentor in the program, you just need to have had at least 3 years of experience with organic production and certification. And mentors may be owners, managers, employees, or can be retired farmers as well, just as long as you have had those 3 years of experience with organic certification. And then mentors do need to commit to around 45 hours per year for mentorship, but that is spread out over 12 months. So it really comes down to just a few hours per month. And mentorship can slow down during, busy production times of the year and then pick back up during those off times. And then there is a stipend for mentors. So mentors will receive about $3,000 per year that they participate. And that is also per mentee. So if a mentor has a lot of time available, you would like to work with more than one mentee, you're welcome to do so, and that stipend will increase accordingly. And then I mentioned that short-term mentorship as well. And of course, the stipend is reduced for that. So the stipend for that one is $300 for every 4 hours that a mentor provides. And then a little bit on, who can be a mentee in this program, the transitioning producers. So folks who are transitioning are eligible to participate as long as they are at least planning to transition to organic. So you can be in that really beginning stage of transitioning. If you're in your typical 3 years of transitioning, you can be in that year 1 at the very, very beginning. But we do ask that you have a serious commitment towards transitioning so that you're really making use of your mentor's time. And mentees can also be owners, managers, or employees of an operation. And of course, it is also open to all crop and livestock producers. Mentees will also need to commit to, about the same 45 hours per year of mentorship, meeting regularly with their mentor and communicating regularly. And then again, there is that short-term option as well. And then you can also be a mentee in this program if you are already certified, but you're looking to add new acreage. So you're looking to transition new land and add that to your certification. So you can request the help of a mentor to help you through that transition process. And then similarly, if you're looking to add a new scope to your certification, so say you have crop and you want to add some livestock to your farm, you could request the help of a mentor to help you through that process of adding organic livestock. And then just one last thing about mentees is that it is important to, have that mindset of being open to learn, open to receiving feedback, just open to that one-on-one relationship of learning from someone and trying out their suggestions and giving feedback yourself. And so those are all qualities that can also develop during the mentorship too. All right, so just keeping it pretty short and sweet here, but I do want to say, feel free to reach out with any questions that you have, or if you just want to learn more about the program, you can email me directly on this email that's on the screen. It's TOPP, T-O-P-P, @tilth.org. Or you can call me directly. That is my direct line there. And then I did want to mention this new website that we have going. All of the folks who are leading this transition to organic partnership program all across the country, they came together to put this new website up. It's only been live for a couple of weeks, so it is a little bit bare bones right now. You can find it at organictransition.org. And it is our hope and our plan that this will become really the hub for all things organic certification, production, transitioning. Really, the focus will be on folks who are transitioning. So it will have a resource library that will be full of resources. It's a little bit bare right now because it's just getting going, but I know for myself, I have tons of resources from the Northwest I'll be putting up there soon. You can also find the mentor and mentee applications on this website, and all the events, all of the top events that are happening all across the country will be listed on there. So you can go there to find, virtual events that maybe are happening on some other side of the country, but you could still attend them. So check that out. Highly recommend it, and keep in mind that it will continue to be built out in the next oncoming months here. Okay, great. Well, that is all that I have to share, but I am happy to answer any questions that anyone has. And I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Anna. I have one question, and everyone else, please be thinking about what you might want to ask. Can you just give us a timeline of what it looks like for someone who's applying? You know, is it a rolling application? What should people be thinking about in terms of planning to be involved with
Great
this
question.
program?
Yeah. So it is a rolling application. So you can apply at any time, and we will set you up with a mentor or set you up with a mentee as soon as we are able. This fall and winter time will be a great time to get started as you come into the off season for most folks, and folks have more time to start something like this. We expect our participation numbers to really grow during this winter. So if you're thinking about it, I encourage you to do it soon so that you can get started with it. But it is a rolling basis, so you're welcome to apply at any time.
And I was curious on you mentioned the travel stipend. Is the goal of that travel stipend to get the mentor and mentee together and be able to see each other's operations?
Yeah, that is the goal. If geography will allow it, if we can find a mentor and mentee pair that are close enough, at least within a few hours, then we'll encourage them to meet in person and see each other's farms. Really seeing where they're each coming from and what they're each doing is really helpful for the mentorship. So yes, that travel stipend is to help offset those costs of potential travel. But we are also open to just completely virtual mentorship if participants are also up for that. You can take videos, photos of your farm too, and do it that way. So we're open to either, but hoping that little stipend helps offset and encourage a little bit of travel in person.
I'm also wondering what's the easiest way for people to find the link to the application for both mentee and mentor?
So the easiest way is to go to this new website, organictransition.org. We kept it pretty simple, so hopefully you can remember. You can also find it on the Oregon Tilth website, and we'll have links on many of our other partner websites here soon too. But right now, the primary place is this organictransition.org, and the links are just really obvious on the landing page there.
And I sent you a quick email, but we'd be happy to share those resources in on our social media channels and also in our newsletter.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Great. Yeah, I'll send you some information after this then.
Yeah.
Feel free to chime in if you have any other questions. And while you're thinking about them, I will just briefly talk about a cool new resource that's been brought online this season for Southern Idaho. A custom farmer named Rich Bupp, Bupp, out of the Twin Falls area, has acquired a weed zapper and a large tractor and trailer for transportation. And for any of you who may not know what a weed zapper is, it actually uses electricity and getting the timing right so that if there are weeds in the field, it's the right height above the crop. It could also be used for field prepping. But yeah, he's been having some great success. He is thinking of it similarly to a chemical application, but obviously this is a mechanical weed management scenario that lends itself really well to organic production. it was obviously a very wet spring, and there was a lot of weed challenges for folks. And he's been rolling acreage for many of the large organic farms in the Magic Valley, and he is also willing to travel along the I-84 corridor for folks who would be interested in learning more. So if you are interested, the best way to contact him, you can either reach out to me, or I will share his phone number for anyone who may be watching the recording. It is 208-280-0602. You can call or text him. Again, that's Rich Buck. And this is a great resource that especially mid to large acreage farmers should at least look at utilizing and getting familiar with. So wanted to mention that. Were there any other questions that came up for folks?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go.
Great.
Roger.
Appreciate joining the meeting. I have a couple of questions. That is, in the Twin Falls area, Filer area, the farms are broken up, you know, and maybe 40s and 80 acre, 160 here and there. Are you obligated to do all, or can you just pick one particular farm as almost an experiment to see if it's going to be cost effective or if you can get it accomplished? And then also I want to say, you know, I'm a newbie. I don't know anything about it. My all conventional farming at this point, but I've always been interested.
Great. Yeah. So you're talking about certifying parts of your land, some of your acres as organic potentially?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's definitely a strategy you can use, and lots of people do that to, you know, test it out, see how it goes, and yeah, see if it's viable for you. And especially if your acres are not adjoining, so if they're a little separated, it's actually a little bit easier to do that. So definitely encourage you to do that. Yeah. And you could, you know, ask for the help of a mentor, someone to guide you through that process, and even just doing a little part of your farm.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, this is Samantha. I'm with the Idaho Organization of Resource Councils, and I'm connected with a farmer in Canyon County who is interested in learning more about transitioning to organic, but there is a language barrier. Is there any efforts in your program to like reduce these barriers, or keeping track of potential mentors who can't speak a different language and can be connected to farmers of color?
Yes, that is one of our primary emphasis going forward. So we've really just been in our first part of program development, and then moving forward, we're going to be translating all of our materials into the languages that we identify for the Northwest. You know, definitely Spanish, and then expanding upon that. So if you have some particular needs, if you know exactly what languages are needed, you're welcome to let me know, and we can look into doing that. We are hoping to recruit more mentors that have other language abilities, definitely, and can also hire, interpreters, things like that for phone calls. We're willing to put those resources available to have anyone and everyone participate that's interested.
And I had a text from Emmanuel, and he was talking about land access. So farmers that would be interested in potentially farming larger acreage. Is there any opportunity for the TOPP program to support matching farmers with land that's either certified or in transition?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is not an emphasis of our program for matching land, but we might be able to put you in connection with an organization that can help with that, or another resource that can help with that. But TOPP itself is not putting any programs or services really towards that directly.
Can I ask a question of Hannah or maybe Christina? To get started, what's the first step? Break it down for a roadmap. And also, I think in my mind, it's okay, great. You transition a farm or a couple of farms or something, and then where's the market for that crop? You know, that those really kind of spark my thinking. What to make it, you know, profitable.
Yeah, I think that might be two questions. I'd also wanted to ask Hannah about market development and what kind of resources you've heard about coming online, or that producers have been asking about around the growth of the organic market to match these acreage goals. But yeah, then also breaking it down and just like, what's that first step for folks that just need like one clear thing to look for?
Yeah, no, good questions. And honestly, talking to a certified organic farmer would probably be your better bet than me, because I myself am not a farmer. But for the markets, a big chunk of the TOPP money went towards the organic market development grants. And that was where USDA put their funds for market growth. So that is for the FSA, I believe, to grow the markets in different areas. So farmers, different kinds of processors, handlers, all different kinds of people submitted grants, small scale up to very large scale ones, to provide new services, new like physical entities, new ways for organic products to move through the market and increase different areas of market where there is potential for growth there. So that's the primary way that USDA has approached it right now. You know, TOPP will also help with identifying some markets, and I mean, working with a farmer who's already selling to organic markets, they will probably be able to help you with identifying those as well, and help you with, you know, what crops are have room for growth right now, which ones are viable to be growing for organic, those kinds of things. So, you know, farmers themselves are a huge resource. Folks who have been organic for a long time and have seen the markets come and go, they really know a lot. And then we should see, I mean, some growth in some areas. I think it might take a little bit here for, you know, all these different programs to come together and all this different funding to actually have an impact. But the hope is that it will, and that the markets will meet the increase in acreage as well. And I mean, as for starting out for your very first step, I mean, I think it's, you know, identifying what land you want to transition, what kind of crops you want to transition. So maybe it is talking to someone who's already certified and asking them, you know, what crops are they growing that are viable for them and easy for that transition process. You know, if you have any land that hasn't had any chemical sprays or pesticides on it, starting off, that can be easier to transition. If you have some little parts that maybe you've left off of your rotations, or has been on the side of your farm or something like that, can often be a good place to start, and to start small is helpful. And identifying, you know, that first crop that you want to try and do, or the plan for the first few crops. And then, getting in touch with a certifier is always a great step as well. And actually talking to certification staff and learning about the regulations, learning about what the NOP requires for organic. I think those are all really great steps to start with. And Christina, if you have more to add there, feel free.
I can say that I've reached out to a variety of organic buyers, organizing past growers' own organic conferences. And I definitely think Idaho is ripe for some of that organic market development funding from USDA. We've in the past seen some major barriers when it comes to getting products into large manufacturing facilities that are not set up to accept farm gate. So the primary processing, whether it's cleaning or deholing or milling. So yeah, that kind of primary processing that's been so heavily concentrated when it comes to so many industries up and down US supply chains, and getting that back here so that instead of shipping up a ready product to be put into some sort of consumer value-added product from California, that they're actually getting it from Idaho farms. Excuse me. So yeah, we see that a lot. Having it be cheaper to bring products in rather than having them be sourced from Idaho, even if the baking or like the packaging is happening here. So I think that's something that we'll want to continue to address, as well as I think connecting with consumers and telling compelling stories and growing the demand. It always has to be balanced out with the supply. So I know we're going to be doing a lot when it comes to that side. And we are seeing in some states, 90%, as high as 90% of households regularly purchase organic foods. And that's obviously been a trend that has appeared over the last decade or so. And there's a higher percentage being consumed in families that have children. And so there's a growing consciousness around the perceived health benefits of organics, which will be continue to be a driving factor in growth. But yeah, I think there's a lot of growth potential in Idaho, not just at the small scale, but at the mid and large scale as well.
I have a question. Whoever wants to answer it, and that probably along the same lines is I'm putting myself in the place of an organic grower, and let's say I've been doing it for 10 or 20 years and fighting the markets, etc. What is the flavor of that element, say down here in southern Idaho? Maybe I don't want new organic growers who aren't bringing a market with them on something, or otherwise, yeah, it's a big benefit to them. That's just trying to get a feel for that. Or am I going to transition and then be producing something that now I'm just competing against my neighbor, and we drive the price down? That's all.
Yeah, that is a good point too. And we have heard that concern from others as well. And there are some organic growers out there who do have those feelings, honestly, and they are not going to probably help you out, and they are not going to be a mentor. But there are also plenty who just want to see the organic market grow. They want to see more organic farms. They want to support people in their development with this. And, those are the folks who are going to be providing services and will be helpful to talk to. And I think, the more organic that's available and is widely available and readily available for everyone to see, then it will probably grow the markets eventually, and it'll all catch up there with consumers as well. But yes, that is also a concern by some folks. And yeah, you might find, some folks that aren't so willing to talk about their markets or who exactly they sell to, but others will be willing to.
I'll also add that the US is a major importer of organic food. And so I think that shows a huge potential for us to be providing more domestically. I do know a lot of organic farmers that do export, whether it's a cherry crop to China or, some specialty grain to Japan. There are those relationships that can be cultivated, but I forget the statistics off my mind, but we're a major importer of a wide variety of organic foods. So looking at what is commonly imported, maybe looking at where the overlap is between products on that list and what could be grown by folks here in Idaho might be a good place to start if there is concern that there's not enough market share. But yeah, I tend to think that more collaboration and growth overall will be beneficial to everybody.
I also wanted to follow up and ask, are there any companies that are buying, or you could say hypothetically contract with that, maybe for dry beans or corn or something, so you knew the beginning of that year you had a contract, and then it's very similar to commercial farming where you have a contract, the only variable is the season and the yield?
I'd say absolutely. There's a number of food manufacturers in Idaho that are able to source locally. And there's also, I think Tim Corney at Thousand Springs Mill is a great example of a, they're not huge, they're not Pillsbury like the previous owner of the plant that they took over, but they are helping fill a contract gap, especially for transitioning acreage. So Tim or Thousand Springs Mill, they only buy organic or transitioning crops as much as possible. And that's what they prioritize. That's the acreage they prioritize contracting. And then I think getting your foot in the door there could potentially be a really good option if you are at those larger volumes, because then you get the opportunity to build those relationships with organic growers who have been in it for a while, who do have those relationships that result in consistent contracts, whether it's domestically or for export. And there's a variety of different models, but yeah, having those contracts secured ahead of time are definitely helpful. And just to answer your question simply, there are a lot of them out there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just wanted to thank you both. This was a great informative meeting, and we're happy to share this information. It's important. Thank you.
I'll edit it and upload it to YouTube and send it out for everyone. I did just want to mention, I know that Hannah mentioned some of the other programs that are coming online to support. But I would encourage anyone listening who has it. Well, if you have a good relationship with your local NRCS office, great. If you don't, they can still help you. You just have to go in and talk to them, because there are some new, there's a new practice standard coming online for organic transition. And so that will provide more funding if you're in that Minty role, where, you know, TOPP is just providing those travel stipends. NRCS can step in to support you as you're transitioning your production systems over to organic and trying something new, which is not always easy. It tends not to be. So yeah, they are, it sounds like ahead of the curve. So they are not quite actively taking contracts, but now's a good time to be talking to them, so you can kind of be first in line. And I'm happy to support you. I know NRCS is very committed to supporting that rollout. So just something to keep in mind. I think, Katie, what you were saying, good information, helpful information. FARE Idaho will definitely be sending it out, and NCAP will send it out. If you have any other resources, whether it's a deep dive into markets or weed management, or more opportunities to meet other organic farmers in the space and ask them questions, any sort of resources that you would like to see in this space, please reach out to me, and we'd love to work on those for you. Hannah, do you want to wrap us off?
Sure, yeah. Well, it was great to chat with you all. And for those who are watching the recording, I mean, feel free to get in touch anytime. Again, you can contact me at topp@tilth.org, and check out our new website, organictransition.org. And you can also contact us directly through that website too. So, you know, just reach out if you have any questions at all, looking for support in any way. We'll be happy to do as much as we can to support you and set you up with services and programs. So it was great to be here today to share with you all.
Thank you all again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye for now.